there, my name is Timmy Cho, and I'm a big tech YouTuber. I have a lot of tech reviews and stuff like that on this channel. I really love technology, huge nerd, video games, TVs, cars, whatever. We're going to talk about it all today. That's right, today I've got 8 anticipated techs of 2017. We had a very weird 2016, phones exploding, driverless cars crashing. We had drones falling out of the sky. It's been mad, and it's also been mad for other reasons.
I will be president.
But we're not talking about that here today, because we're looking towards the future. We've got a 2017 coming. We've got CES right in the first month. We've got Nintendo announcing the Switch and showing us all the goodies. We've got an AMD processor coming out in the first couple months. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and I'm going to break it all down for you in a list. Top 8 most anticipated technologies of 2017 coming up after this intro. So yes, we did have an interesting year in 2016 for a lot of reasons. There were some issues, but I think that there will be some redeeming factors about 2017 and beyond, because I think that we're getting into a bubble where, like, just subconsciously by 2020, we want to have a lot done. We want to have driverless cars on the road. We want everyone to be watching the highest resolutions. We want smartphones to be smaller, thinner, and basically run our lives. So there is a lot to talk about. And I think in the next 3 years, we're going to see a lot of interesting technologies come out of the woodwork. And you thought that, you know, the smartphone has gotten to a pinnacle. Well, no, I don't think so. I think that we're going to see a lot. So let's just start talking about TVs. With CES coming up, there is always a huge focus on televisions, and I think that this is a year of a red letter day for the 1080p television. I think that with everyone switching to streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, with the death of the cable television and their inability to kind of keep up, they're switching all their content over the internet anyways. We're going to see it make it a lot easier for the 4K television to come into the home and just be, a normal thing. But 4K isn't the only technology here. A couple of different technologies all come into play to make the next generation television a huge deal. 4K, OLED, organic light emitting diodes, and HDR, high dynamic range. Putting all of those things together make the television look like a mirror. Honestly, go check them out. They're at your local Best Buy. They're at, they're set up already. And if everything's set up properly, if you look at an OLED TV with HDR on and it's 4K, running some native content, it's like seeing a 1080p TV for the first time. When you first saw that high resolution compared to CRT TV, well, I think that it's actually that big of a difference, and there's going to be a huge influx at CES of all of these mainstream brands, the lower tier of brands, making this technology more affordable and easier to get a hold of, and the 1080p TV is the way of the dodo bird. I think that you'll only see the lowest of the low, selling that as kind of like bargain basement prices. Even this year on Black Friday, I saw 4K televisions being sold under the RCA brand for, sub $1,000 prices in, 60-inch sizes. So we're definitely seeing the death of the 1080p TV, and I do definitely, if you have a chance, go to Best Buy and look through the window that is an OLED TV. They look amazing. So we're going to see a lot of that at CES, and you're not just going to see the big manufacturers showcasing, LG and Samsung showcasing these new TVs. It's going to be the lower brands showing that it can be affordable and that the content is now really getting there, and by like 2020, 1080p will just be a thing, a lower resolution we use because we're on shitty Wi-Fi or whatever. Let's move on to the next one. Well, you think that the smartphone has reached a pinnacle of technology? Well, I don't think so. I think this year is going to be very big for cell phones, and the hint of that came this year with Chinese brand Xioami bringing out an amazing phone. If you look at it, it's kind of a game changer. It's called the Xiaomi Mi Mix. Now, I know that's kind of confusing, but it is a bezel-less phone there's a tiny chin on the bottom, but the rest of it is all screen, and it's amazing to look at, and it's kind of interesting why it hasn't gotten to that yet. And it's just because the panels haven't been there. Hiding things like fingerprint sensors and home buttons and cameras has been a little harder for manufacturers to shove them all into this. I mean, look at this phone. This is a couple years old now, and the curves weren't really doing it for people. There was a lot of curved phones, and they've already brought out 2K phones. Well, I think we're going to see these amazing 4K displays shrink down and have OLED panels inside of a bezel-less phone that you'll pick up, and everything is going to be like, there's actually already screen grabs that people have making concepts of these phones for Samsung, for the S8. They do have to redeem themselves after the Note 7 exploded in everyone's faces. So you're going to see a big influx of different display technologies move in. Even iPhone's rumored, and you know they never do it, but they're rumored to have a big game-changing screen change, building the home button and the Touch ID right into the panel. So we're definitely going to see some interesting technologies, as well as with smartphones. We're going to see some bendable, foldable smartphones for sure. Definitely at CES. You're going to see that we've already seen them, but they've been kind of proof of concepts more than actual products. I think Samsung is going to redeem themselves at CES and show us that this phone is a few years away, that looks the size of a credit card in your wallet, and you open it up and it's a huge, like, 7-inch tablet if you really want it to be. We've seen other manufacturers like Lenovo do this as well. So there's definitely some really cool stuff coming in 2017 for smartphones. A little bit more exciting than I think the last couple of years have held. So it wouldn't be a tech show unless we talked about some game consoles, but we've already seen big updates from PS4, from Xbox One. They revamped their systems in 2016. VR came out for the PlayStation 4, so I don't think we're going to see a heck of a lot from them. They're more going to be, releasing games and trying making their money back on these consoles this year. But we might see something from Xbox and Project Scorpio announced at the end of the year. I'm not sure, but what we definitely know is that there is an announcement, a big game-changing Nintendo news conference coming in January, and I've got a friend, Alex Myers. He is going to explain what he knows about the Nintendo. He's more of a gaming type guy, and I figured I'd throw it to him, and he'd be better to explain it. So check this out.
So, in 2017, Nintendo is set to release its newest system called the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a big deal because rather than just being like a stronger, more powerful version of the old system, like what you see with, like with PS4, Xbox One, it's just like a more powerful version of a PS3, Xbox 360. Instead of doing that, Nintendo is just cutting everything and starting over. So it's not just a more powerful Wii or Wii U, whatever, it's a whole new departure. So what we know so far is not very much, actually. We know that it's a tablet, we know that it docks into your TV, we know it plays at 1080p, but we don't really have a whole lot of details about exactly what games are going to be there, exactly how powerful the system is, what kind of online services and functions it's actually going to have. We don't really know anything. However, we do know that Nintendo is holding a worldwide press conference on January 12th. So next year, beginning of the year, boom, we're getting all the new info right from the get-go. Now, what we've seen so far for sure is we've seen Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild running live on the system. We saw it on Jimmy Fallon, and it looks great. The game looks amazing, but it doesn't look that powerful. It doesn't look that big of a step. So we're pretty sure that it's not going to be nearly as powerful, of course, as a PS4 or Xbox One. But that goes without saying, though, because we do know that the insides of the system are a Tegra chip, which is used in mobile phones and tablets. So there's no way it could reach PS4 levels. A lot of Nintendo fans out there are creaming their pants because they're like, oh, it's going to be as powerful as the Xbox One. Oh, it's gonna put 4K video. No, there's no way this is going to happen. PS4, Xbox One run on AMD hardware, which means it's meant for a PC. They're x86 systems. They are PCs. The Nintendo Switch is a tablet with Tegra hardware. Now, Tegra is fine. It's powerful and all that, but still, there's no way it's going to hit that level of power and graphics and all that stuff. Like, some of these Nintendo fans are just living this weird dream where it's like, oh, Nintendo's coming out, it's gonna be more powerful than the Scorpio, man. It's not gonna happen, okay? But it is my most anticipated tech of 2017 because it's different, okay? It's not just a more powerful system. It's not just better graphics. It's a new idea, something that hopefully will pay dividends for Nintendo.
So, AMD is launching a new CPU architecture, and you might not be a huge nerd or really understand what that means, but in layman's terms, AMD is the alternative to Intel, and they haven't been able to compete for the last 4 or 5 years because they haven't really upgraded their manufacturing process, because they've been putting a lot of time into this Zen architecture. Now, we've been hearing about it for years, but it's finally going to launch. There should be a launch event somewhere in the January to March timeframe, and this is huge. Their Summit Ridge architecture is going to compete with Intel, and it not only competes with it, but at a fraction of the price. Typically, AMD puts their high-level CPUs at about a third or half the price of Intel's. So it's a big deal if you want to go and get a new gaming computer, but AMD makes the hardware for Xbox and for PS4, so it also puts more R&D and money into your favorite consoles as well as tablet computers, and everything's getting faster and smaller and more more power efficient. So it's interesting to see that there'll be finally a competitor to Intel. It looks like they're launching the SR7, SR5, and SR3 to compete directly with the Core i7, Core i5, and Core i3, where AMD's current offerings have they can't even touch any of those Intel CPUs. So it's going to be a really cool 2017 for computer processors. 2016 saw the Amazon Echo become kind of a thing that gets integrated into households kind of out of nowhere. So much so that even Google hopped on board with their Google Home Assistant, and now we're talking to Bluetooth speakers in our household, asking them jokes.
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me no more.
And asking them to be our friend. It's even so prominent that it's made itself into media, like Mr. Robot.
Alexa, when is the end of the world?
Unless it collides with a very large rock or a future technology goes very wrong indeed, Earth is most likely to be destroyed when the sun swells into a red giant in several billion years' time.
But I think we're only going to see these digital home assistants get more integrated with our technologies, our phones, our smart thermostats, our fridges, maybe even over the next year or so. And CES is going to show a lot of integrated products to work with these. I don't really think there'll be a lot of people jumping on board. Maybe there'll be a Cortana version of it or a Siri version of it, but I don't think you're going to see other manufacturers making their own. They're going to concentrate on integrating our smart products into these Amazon Echoes and Google Home, so they work kind of side by side with them, and you're going to see a lot of that at CES. So look for more home assistants in 2017 for sure. So 2016 saw the launch of 2 different VR systems that actually came to market and were commercially available. And they were, a pretty big hit in the eyes of people that were looking for this stuff. They almost hit the mark of being completely viable, usable systems with, a couple of huge hitches. Expensive computer required, lots of money required, a really big open room required to use the HTC Vive, touch controllers launching way beyond the date of the launch of the headset, games still needing to be developed properly. VR isn't going to be in the mainstream anytime soon. We saw 2016 kind of be this starting point, but I think it's going to take a couple years before it takes off, and 2017 is not going to be the year of the VR. It's not going to change things. Even with PlayStation VR, I really doubt that that's a huge hit. And then in maybe 2018, 2020, we're going to see some revamps of the HTC Vive 2 or the Oculus Rift 2 that will really be less expensive, higher spec, and more available and broadly available to the general public. That doesn't, however, mean that we're going to see VR completely leave the space. We're seeing Snapchat make these glasses with cameras built into them, and it's only a matter of time before Samsung or someone puts another camera on them. It kind of makes it so you can watch a world in 3D a lot easier. So I think we'll see more of an uprise of wearable cameras and stuff like that might help VR a little bit, but less of a focus on actually trying to get complicated headsets into the hands of viewers. But we'll see at CES. Maybe I'm completely wrong. So 2016 really was the year of the drone. We saw DJI come in and really put drones in the hands of the everyday person and have their line get really inexpensive. If you want to, go get a Phantom 3, that's a pretty capable drone at like the $400 or $500 price tag during the holidays here. It's crazy. And then move their way up to like the Phantom 4 Pro Edition, having like cinema style cameras in it, and their Inspire line getting even better. So DJI's got the whole drone space on lock. Even GoPro was trying to challenge them and had a really hard time. Now there are other manufacturers like Parrot and stuff like that, competing in this space, but I think 2017 will have someone come out of the woodwork, a Samsung or an HTC or a Microsoft, I don't know, an Apple maybe, come out with a drone that can actually compete with DJI's line of products. And we see that they're getting smaller. I mean, look at the Mavic. It's like this tiny little box that folds out into a fully capable, almost Phantom 4 style drone. So we're only going to see these things get smaller, but even though DJI just launched a whole new set of products, that doesn't mean they're going to stop. They have like a 9-month cycle on their products. So by mid-year we should see another, the Phantom 5 come out and the Mavic 2, and then hopefully we'll see some products from some other companies, because doesn't everyone need a drone? I need a pizza delivered with a drone by the end of 2017. I think we'll be seeing that, so I'd hope to get one under the Christmas tree. So this last subject, electric vehicles and driverless tech in general, is a whole subject on its own, and it's kind of like I wanted to do it last because I don't want to talk too much about it. But electric vehicles and driverless cars, I think, is going to be even bigger this year in 2017. We saw Tesla launch the Model 3, and it should be coming out kind of near the end of the year, early next year, 2018. And we see the Chevy Bolt come out, the Nissan Leaf 2 should be coming out, and some other manufacturers like Volkswagen, Toyota are going to have to jump on, especially with the driverless scenario. I think we'll probably be seeing some real mainstream cars use driverless technology by the end of 2017 or be prepped for 2018. They say that by 2020 we should really be seeing a lot of these on the road. So to see services like Uber and Lyft using a driverless car, I bet we'll see that by the end of 2017, and we're going to see these cars at CES. CES has been flooded with the likes of Ford and some big name auto manufacturers coming into the Consumer Electronics Show, because really cars are just a new set of tech. It's gone are the days of carburetors and high gas guzzling cars with AM radios in them. They are very much becoming like a part of our smartphone where we can start our engines from our car, and we're only going to see more and more of that in 2017. And so ends my list of the most anticipated technologies, the top 8 things I think we'll be seeing get big and go huge in 2017. I can't wait to be watching all my 4K Netflix on my OLED TV, sitting in my smart home, talking to Alexa, get in my electric driverless car, and drive around the world while drones deliver pizza to me. It's gonna be a grand old time. Thank you very much to Alex Myers for checking out the Nintendo Switch for us. He is a wonderful YouTuber. You should check out this video that we did together on his channel, as well as link in the description to his channel. Just go check him out. He's a real swell guy. I'm gonna calm down. I've been yelling at the camera about technology for too many hours now. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see CES come, and we'll see if I was right about a lot of this tech. I'm sure I am. But if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, consider all that stuff, and I want you guys to have a very frosty holidays, and I hope you get all the Christmas treats under the Christmas tree. Santa be good!